Well, hi. We're on Facebook Live, and it's just me this time. Good afternoon to you. For those who don't know me, I'm Bill Clanton, and coming to you live from my live video studio here in Barnegat. And I'm trying to make this a regular thing. I end up doing so many Facebook Live videos for so many other people that I was like, well, you know what? Why don't I start doing some of my own? What do you think? I'd love to hear your comments on that. As the room just fills up with people, but it is a Monday here, and Mondays carry with themselves their own kind of stigma. And Mondays, I love the situation where somebody always says, "Oh, I got a case of the Mondays." Well, that kind of changed for me when Monday didn't necessarily mean going into the office and working. So pretty much every day for me has the potential to either be a case of the Mondays or a case of the Tuesdays or Wednesdays, because the day of the week really doesn't matter much when you're an entrepreneur. So I'm hoping that if you're not in that position and you're watching this, hopefully you're not too far off from that day when you can say, nobody tells me what time I have to go to work. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that kind of popped in my head this morning as I was getting around. And of course, for those who know me, know that I have a teenager who has started driving recently. And, well, it turns out he took both keys to the car with him today. So I ended up working from home for the better part of the morning, which really I wasn't complaining about it. No complaint about being forced to work from home. Oh, no. But a couple of things that popped in my head this morning. And this is always a battle for anybody who's an entrepreneur and you're trying new ideas and you're always, it almost sometimes it feels like you're constantly chasing the money or you're chasing the success, and it may kind of you may feel like you're failing sometimes. I'll be honest with you. There are times when I look at it and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And what I've realized is two quotes came to mind, and one of which is, failure only happens when you give up. So for us as entrepreneurs, each time that you think of Thomas Edison, how many times did he learn how not to make a light bulb? So the same thing holds true for us as entrepreneurs, because not every idea or scheme or whatever you want to call it or project that we put our minds to is going to be a success out of the box. And that's something that, I think that's a given. There's no such thing as an overnight success. I love that when somebody finally reaches that success level, and then so many people are so quick to discredit that and say, oh, they're an overnight success. Yeah, 20-year overnight success. So nothing good was ever easy, I guess you could say. So the point at which it becomes a failure is when you give up. So as long as we are still striving towards our goals, maybe we've learned different ways of how not to reach that goal, but we only fail after we give up. And that's where it leads into my next quote. And what is failure? Failure is proof that I'm trying. Because if I wasn't trying and failing, it'd be no different than sitting on the couch and binge watching Star Trek or something. I don't know. What do I feel like binge watching these days? No, actually, I'm into the mystery shows, so I do tend to binge watch some of that Father Brown stuff and Agatha Christie, Poirot. But I digress. I could be doing that and then be complaining about my situation, and well, that's never going to get us anywhere. It's never going to get past that individual failure. And so at least it's two points to take away from that. And it's kind of my thought for this Monday is that failure only happens when you give up. And failure is proof that you're trying. Not everything you do is going to be perfect the first time out of the box. And I think that kind of goes without saying. But here we are live on Facebook on a Monday. Just think about the technology that we now have at our disposal. And the way I see it is with the way the technology is, we get to fail faster. And the faster we fail, the quicker we succeed, right? Because now I'm able to see in a moment's notice whether or not something is working. No matter what I'm marketing now, when I'm looking at Facebook advertising or anything of that nature, I'm able to see almost instant results, if not instant, within an hour or two, whether or not something's working, and then I can tweak it to, see the best way to make it work. So I think the technology that we have at our disposal now can really help us in the area of, if we're looking at the big F word, and that's failure, well, yeah, we get to fail faster and get us closer to that moment at which we succeed. So speaking of Facebook Live, I'm curious how many of you out there are using Facebook Live. Have you gone on Facebook Live? Have you even tested it out? Are you using it for your business? I've taught a couple courses now as SCORE workshops, and we've had them here live on Facebook. And I feel as though there were quite a few people that really benefited from the knowledge at the course. So I'm just anxious to see how many people are applying that. Whether you're going live from your phone or your tablet, you don't have to have a fancy studio set up like what I have here. Which, by the way, anybody who's watching this and you're local to this area, to the Barnegat area, and you want to come and get a tour of the studio and see the facility that we built here in Barnegat, I'd gladly give you a tour and show you the technology behind what it takes to just do multi-camera feeds. In fact, we've got another one coming up on Thursday, another episode of the Makeshift Happen show that we produce here in our Video on Main studios. And you want to find out how we make it all happen, all the technology, the cameras, I'll definitely give you a demonstration and help you, if that's something you want to build for your business. Maybe it's a side hustle you want to work on. Hey, consider us an open book here, and we're happy to teach you. Or maybe you want to be hands-off and you don't want to build a studio. You don't want to be worrying about any of that, and you just want a place to go and promote your product. We offer that too. So feel free to message me here on Facebook, and I'll hook you up with a tour of our studios here on Main Street in Barnegat. So another thing that I recently released is a course on Udemy. And Udemy, one of those. I've heard it both ways, right? So I released a course on branding and how to build a brand filter and what's called a style guide. And these are, you might think to yourself, well, why do I need that for my business? And I saw it in real world practice where when we were working with different vendors, we had to constantly keep repeating ourselves. We constantly had to re-explain the mission of the brand. We had to constantly communicate the colors, the slogans, the imagery. Well, once we developed a style guide and brand filter for the brands, it made it so much easier to communicate that not only internally with the business, but also externally when we worked with outside marketing firms. So my course is currently on Udemy, and in fact, I'm going to drop a link right into the good old Facebook stream here. It'll just take me a minute or two here, but it's a course that I think is going to give you that insight. Maybe it's something that you're getting tired of repeating yourself. I think a lot of times we forget about the little things, the simple little things that day to day we don't realize. And hi, Lisa, I see you there. We don't realize that we are spending all this extra time over and over again communicating the same exact message. And if we just took the time to write it down and put it into a physical document, we could then share that both internally within our company or externally with outside marketing firms. So I'm dropping the link in as a comment right now, and that actually is a special link because that one has the coupon code on it, so you can get the course for just $9 or $9.99, something like that. And what you'll find in the course, you can finish it in under an hour, about 43 minutes, I think, is what it came to when I got all the lessons completed. And all it is a simple explanation as to what a brand is, why you need to brand your business, and how you can maximize your time and efforts just by keeping a consistent message. But I'm not talking about just verbally communicating. I'm talking about where you can just have a physical piece of paper, where you're going to have a piece of paper, or you can have it digitally as well, but it's a document that you're going to be able to share with your marketing people. I would say, and as I teach in the course, every person who touches any part of your brand should have access to this brand filter or style guide. So it's an actual document that you're going to have that's not only going to have the name of the brand, the mission, it's going to have all the colors. So even down to HTML hexadecimal color codes, so that when somebody is creating something, whether it be a digital asset, a graphic, an ad, you've got all your color codes in your style guide so that they can match the colors exactly to your logo. And in the course, we talk about how a brand is more than just a logo. However, consistency with that logo, think about a Coca-Cola logo. We don't need to see the whole logo in order to recognize at a distance it's a Coca-Cola logo. Think about McDonald's. The Golden Arches. It's been that way for a long time. Why? Because they've been consistent with their brand. And you've probably seen brands that have strayed away from being consistent, and as a result, there's a lot of confusion with those brands. But the brands that have stayed consistent, you can recognize that logo at a distance, and that's something that I teach in the course. So I dropped the link into the comments here on Facebook. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I dropped it into the description down below, and it's got a special coupon code in there to get the course for $9.99. But not so much that this is meant to be a sales thing, but just wanted to share some of the things I've been working on. And also, remember, if you haven't done so already, check out my book, Employee to Entrepreneur, 5 Days That Changed My Life. And earlier in this session, we were talking about how Mondays, a case of the Mondays, and when you're an entrepreneur, every day has the potential to give you a case of the Mondays, because every day can either be a Monday or a Saturday. It really depends on your perspective. So you can find it on Amazon, iBooks, Kindle, wherever books are sold. You can find the book. It's Employee to Entrepreneur, 5 Days That Changed My Life. And just to recap what we were talking about before we wrap up for this Monday session here, failure. Failure is a dirty F word that I think some people like to throw around as a way of beating people down. But for you, Mr. and Mrs. Entrepreneur, wherever you are, whoever you are, failure only happens when you give up. And, more importantly, failure is proof that you're trying. I'm Bill Clanton. Thank you for watching. And maybe we'll do this again on Wednesday. How's that sound? We'll sit down. We'll have another chat. Feel free to get your questions together, and we'll maybe do an Ask Me Anything session on Wednesday. Again, I'm Bill Clanton. Thank you for watching, and I hope to catch up with you again soon, somewhere, wherever the digital Ethernet brings us to on those interwebs.